did Romance back in 2020.
I did do that back in 2020, hey? Well,
Yeah,
it's been,
very short.
okay. Well, this will be good. This will be the full, you've got the full shebang of this one. And I'll talk you guys through it as I do it. But first, I'll just do a little performance of it. So, romance, I've got both sections of it, part A and part B. A lot of people play just the part A part, which is probably what I gave 6 years ago. Wow. Um, and yeah, you can play as much or as little of this as you want. You'll see that I'll be picking with these three fingers primarily. Sometimes I'll use my thumb on my fourth string to bring out a bass note, but you can play this song without anything on your fourth string. You can just play strings 1, 2, 3. That's the arpeggio pattern that just keeps going through it. Okay, that's enough talking. I'm going to play it now. I'm going to play it with all the bass notes so you can hear everything. I do have a different tuning of this that I use sometimes, so I don't do this. But I like this for the second part of the song. So here we go. There we go. All right, so we'll work on that tune. And it looks a little daunting at first when I'm playing it, but I'm going to break it right down for you guys. So, it just, like I said, I play primarily with these guys. Okay. You probably saw me go down to, where was it? In the second part of the song, when I started with this, you may have noticed that I was doing that same little triplet pattern, but I moved like that. You can go like that. I just, for this song, for the way my mind works, I like to have each finger assigned to a string, and I just leave it there. And it works out best for me because this hand is so busy, you know. But let's just start it off. We're gonna be really chill. We're not gonna worry about any bass notes. We're not gonna worry about the second part of the song. We'll get the first part down. First part down for the win, because if you just sit and play that, it's perfect. Lots of people just play the first part of the song. I used to do that for years. It's all good. All right, so I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna work on this full plant idea. I'll spin this way a little bit so you can see my hand a little bit better. And I'm got my ring finger on my first string, middle finger on string 2, index finger on string 3. I might rest my thumb on my 4th string just for stability, and that's totally fine. I might let it float, that's okay. Doing that, resting the pinky, is probably going to give you some grief with this particular song. Okay, so either rest that way or that way. But I wouldn't use the pinky as a kickstand for this, okay? So when you feel ready, join me in plucking like this. Okay, ring finger on the first string, middle finger on the second, pointer finger on the third. And we're going to do that for a bit. So I got that thumb rest in there. When I started playing a lot of bass, that's when that started to happen, when I was resting my thumb. But I found for a lot of songs, it made it a little bit easier for me. Depends on the song. You won't always see me do that. I hope everyone's just sitting there doing the same thing with me, just picking this arpeggio pattern. This song, Romance, is one that I believe came about in the, I think it was the 1800s, and it's just such a pretty song, you know, a lot of fun to play, really flowing, and this technique can also be used in banjo rolls. We just speed it up, but we don't worry about that right now. We get this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is start playing the melody of the song, but I'm not going to do it in the whole order. I'm just going to go like this. I've got my 7th fret. I'm just going to sit there and feel it a little bit. You could use one finger like that. You might use your ring finger. Okay, we're going to move down to the 5th fret now. We're just going to sit there. We don't have the whole order of the song yet, except we are doing this descending pattern, right? Okay, let's move down to the 3rd fret. It can feel a little bit weird to keep that flow going of the picking. Okay, let's go to the 2nd fret. Okay, now back to open. Okay, let's just stop there. The song is in 3/4 time. And it uses triplets. So there's so much in groups of 3. The pattern that you'll hear is, and I'll pull up the tab to look at it in a jiffy, but I just want to kind of define this. So, and again, I'm ignoring the bass note right now. Okay, so measure 1. You're going to sit on the 7s. You're going to go 1, 2, You're going to play it one more time. Then you're going to move. So you have a bar where you stay still on the one note, and then a traveling bar where you go 7, 5, 3. Okay, try it with me. Okay, let's get that measure, first measure of the 7th fret there, and we're keeping it slow. Okay, here we go. 7, and again 7. One more 7. Now a traveling bar, so 7, down to 5, then 3. Okay, next measure is 3, 2, 0. 3, and always with that picking. 2, open. Okay, now we've got a transitional bar that's going to help us move up to that 12th fret. So it's 0, 3, 7. It gives you a chance to reach for that 12th fret with whichever finger. So transitional bar, here we go. Open. 3rd fret. Okay, up to the 7th fret. Good. Okay, take a moment, reach for that 12th fret. Whatever gets you there. I often use my pinky because I know what's coming up, but use whatever finger feels stable, okay? Here we go on the 12, ready? 12, and again. One more time. Transitional bar is going to be 12, 10, 8. 12, down to 10, now 8. Okay, let's stop there. Okay, because we've got some barring coming up, I want to just review what we've got, and then we'll tuck in that barring. Okay, so if you keep this picking pattern going, then you're golden, right? Each number that I call out gets that pattern assigned to it. So let's do it. So we've got 7 3 times, and then the traveling bar, 7, 5, 3. 3, 2, open, okay? And then the transitional bar that lifts us to the 12th fret. It's a fun song to play, right? You get all over the fretboard with this. All right, here we go. 7. One more. Now the traveling bar, 7, 5, 3. 7, down to 5, to 3. Often in this song, you repeat whatever was in the previous bar, and that's why now we're going to go 3, 2, 0. Here we go. 3, 2, 0. Transitional bar is 0, 3, 7, 0, 3, 7. Yeah, helps us get up to that 12th fret. Okay, let's play the 12th fret. Ready, go. 2. One more. Okay, the traveling bar, 12 to 10 to 8. Now we've got to do a bar chord. Okay, and now, oh, my face is itchy. All right. Now, this bar chord is such a good one to get. It's a 3-finger or 3-string bar chord. You might use it down here for your D. You may have seen that. Okay, this is a 3-string bar chord. So you just move it up to your 5th fret, bar chord tip. Make sure the little creases in your finger joints are not sitting on top of a string, because then you'll feel like you have to push and push and push, and you don't get so far. So I line it up. We're human beings. We don't line everything up all perfectly, but what we can do is tuck our elbow in as we crank our finger that way, and use some pressure on this side to help hold things in place. Pinky is down here, good and close to the fret. If you're like, oh, my hand feels so unstable, put the ring finger down on the 7th fret, because you're going to be playing that note anyway. Okay, so it's going to go like this. I'm going to say 8, 7, and 5. Okay, here we go. 8, lift off to your 7. Now just the bar of the index finger for 5. 5 again. 7, 8. Now it might feel fatiguing to have your hand sitting there, make sure that your thumb is in a position where it helps you. Sometimes people like them right across from the barring finger. Sometimes people like it off to the side a bit. I find that as I play, I'm going to check and see exactly how I do that bar chord. Am I on the 5? Okay. Okay, so I'm landing, seems like my hand wants to land with there and there down, so I'm ready to go. Okay, and my thumb, look where my thumb's sitting there to help me out. It's a little bit, for me right there, it's pretty opposite my index finger, but it is turned on its side a little bit because I'm mindful of tucking my elbow in here to support my hand and also holding it on this side. Some counter pressure on the ukulele. That can really help. All right, so let's go back to the beginning and we'll play up to that bar chord. And then we'll add in the next little bit, which looks a bit daunting, but I have to say, looking at it again, I remember how much it's like a G7 chord shape. It looks scarier than it is. Like a little tiny B flat shape, then a little tiny G7. I'll identify them as familiar chords and we'll walk through them. Back to the beginning. Let's go. Ah, yeah, here we go. On the 7, 3 times on the 7, and then 7, 5, 3. Okay, here we go. 7, 7. Now we travel 7, 5 to 3, 3 to 0. Transitional bar 037. Reach for the 12. Transition 12 10 8. And I see how I drug my baby finger down. That's so I can get comfortably into that bar and I'm positioned for that. So line yourself up in your bar. It might not be perfect. We're not looking for perfection, okay? We're looking for just a bit of comfort right now. Okay, so I'll say 8, 7, 5, 5, 7, 8. So 8, and then with the bar, of course. Here we go. 8, 7. Now just the bar for the 5s. And again, put that 7th fret down. And 8. Now I'm going to walk you through the next part. Relax your hands while I do this because you don't want to have a lot of tension. Often when I would do this song as a beginner, I would hang on to it. I would hang on to the neck like for dear life. So rest your hand while I do this part. I'll show the tab after I'm done the first part of this song so that you've already gone through it and it makes sense to you. Okay, so the next thing we've got there, if I'm looking at those numbers, is 7, 7, 8. So the way I approach it is I think about way back down here, your B flat chord. Okay, it's the same idea, but you're just making a little one. So you make your B flat chord shape on the 7th fret. And you play that just one time. So you go, and you'll see my hand do this a lot while I play. Okay, it'll pivot around a little bit. So I do that. And then I have to change. I pivot. And I am repositioning my finger a bit. And this chord, it's like your G7. But it's there, up there. So I played that one. That's my 8, 7, 8, if you're looking at the tab there. 8, 7, 8. And then I drop back down into that little baby B flat shape. Now I'm trying to pull my fingers away so that you can see things, but I don't play like that. See, I'm trying to keep everything compact and let the fingers support each other. Okay, so I do my little baby B flat, 3-stringer, pivot into a G7. When I make that shape, you'll see my fingers still bent a little bit. still even touching that first string a bit, that's because after I play this shape, I'm going back down to that. That's why. Now, the kicker that's coming, and it's so much easier on the ukulele than it is on the guitar, is reaching for the 11th fret. Well, you still have 7 and 8. You have 7 and 8. So then it's 11. Now, let's say you're like, what, Tina, that's a horrible stretch. You're a horrible person to give this to me on a Sunday morning. Don't hold the bar down. Don't give yourself that much grief. You can play it like that and the notes don't ring out, and it's, honestly, it's not the end of the world, right? You're learning these techniques and these bars are, it's a lot. So if you need to, you can do it like this, right? You got this one, to this one, to this one. And maybe as you reach for the 11, this finger even lifts off. It's okay. Place your fingers as you need them. Okay, it's all right. And then after that, we do a little G7 shape. Back to the baby B flat. Okay, then we've gone through the toughest stuff, and we're home free. We go back to this 7, that transitional bar, 5, or traveling. 3, 2, open. Okay, then we make an E7 chord. Okay. You're not playing the 4th string at this point, so you could just be like that if you want, but it's nice to identify it as an E7 chord there. So if you make that, then you're just picking the strings, sitting there. Did I do 3? I did 3, I think. Okay, one more. Either put your pinky down on that 3rd fret, or adding a little bit of color to that chord, or you can shift that finger, but I always find that awkward. I feel like this one comes with me too much, so I just tuck that there, and I play it just one time, and then I lift that finger and go back to the normal E7. Okay, and then let's just do a little strum right now. Give your hands a break. I'm going to pull up that that tab now, except I don't have it up on my computer, so you're going to have to give me a second here. Such pressure. All right. Be mindful of your body position when you're doing this, you guys, because those bars, they can feel a bit rough on your hands at first, and I want you to just be mindful of that. You might find that I always think about how our hands have a history, right? Like for me, stretching here can be a bit painful, right? So I'm careful, but just give yourself a little stretch. Make sure you're not slumped over. I mean, I was out here until, whatever, having a great time, just playing and playing, but I tried to be careful and sit up, and, if I stopped playing my guitar or ukulele and played my accordion, then I sit up and I do an opposite motion. So I guess I better play my accordion today. I'll play it for my fish. I'm sure they'll love it. I'm going to share the that PDF now. All right, does everyone see that there? Yeah, we all look so serious right now with this. They were like, yes. That's because we're having fun. All right, so I'm going to play through it while I'm talking, and play through it with me. And we'll start on this first line here. Okay, again, ignoring that bass note, that little 2. Just focus on just the melody. Okay, here we go on the 7s. Here we go. 7, 7, 7. Okay, traveling bar 7, 5, 3, 7, 5, 3. Now 3, 2, 0. the end of the line is that transitional bar, 0, 3, 7. Okay, now we're at the beginning of the second line. Reach up for that 12. Here we go. Okay, now we're going to travel 12, 10, 8. Now when we look there, we've got a little Roman numeral 5 above all this barring section. That means, and the little half C means to do a half bar or not a full bar on the 5th fret. And you know you got to keep that until that line is done. So that's what that notation means. Okay, so here I am. I've got my 8, 5, 5. And I know I've got some people making notes, so I'm going to just wait for a jiffy there. It's important to make these notes, and it's important to have the time to make them, because you want to be able to remember everything, right? Okay, so here we are, half bar on the 5th fret, and we're going to play 8, 5, 5. So we know we're going to lay down that bar. We're going to make sure that we don't have a finger crease sitting on top of the first string in particular, because you know that you've got to play that 5th fret note there. Okay, here we go. We've barred, got pinky finger, probably pinky finger on the 8th fret. Here we go. 8. Okay, now we're going to play the 7. Now just the bar. Again with the bar. Back up to the 7th fret. 8th fret. Okay, now the wonky bars. We've got 7, 7, 8, which is a lot like a baby B flat. Then the next one, 8, 7, 8, is your G7 chord shape. Back to the baby B flat. Let's do that. So 7, 7, 8, I'm going to call out the numbers. 7, 7, 8. 8, 7, 8 now? Yeah, right on. Back to the baby B flat with 7, 7, 8. Here comes Stretchy here with the 11, 7, 8. Ready? Nice and slow. 11, 7, 8. Now the G7 shape with 8, 7, 8. Yeah, right on. And now the baby B flat with 7, 7, 8. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Okay, you're home free. 7, 5, 3. Here we go. 5, 3, 3, 2, 0. We're on line 4. Make your E7 chord shape. Okay, now we're in the next measure. Keep it going. 2. Lay down something on that 3rd fret. Yeah, right on. Back to just the 2. Now I know we've got a different pattern happening here. Let's just hit just an A minor strum right there, just so we can kind of keep focusing on that melody part. People whose hands I saw were amazing. It was so awesome, you guys. That's so cool. Bars looked effective, looked comfortable. Just keep in mind that it'll tire out your hand doing those, so you give yourself time, right? The next thing I do want to do is look at the last 2 measures of line 4. Okay, and that's the weird part. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'll show you how I play that, and you can decide for yourself what you want to do with it. Okay, stop sharing. Okay, so in the original piece, you have this little arpeggio running down. If you have low G uke, it works great. If you don't, let me think. It doesn't have the same sort of vibe, but there's different things you can do with it. Okay, so the notes that I'm playing on that 4th string are A, E, C, back to A, A, and I do an A minor strum there. Now, something that people do that is pretty effective is you keep, for options, you keep the 1, 2, 3 going. You can go like this. Do a pinch. This is where some bass notes come in. So you're going to pinch strings 4 and 1. Okay. So I'm going to do that again. So that's written a little differently than what I have there. So I've got my 2. So pinch and then do the 1, 2, 3. Fifth fret. Okay. What I did in the version that I have was I tried to get some of the descending sound that I got on my classical guitar. That's why it moves a little bit. So now, keep in mind when I'm doing the pinching, I am trying to show what I'm doing rather than have my fingers sitting there. So when I do that pinching, normal hand position for me would be, I'm sorry. So it can be hard to see everything. That's why I'm over-exaggerating it. So figure out which one you like. Like you might want to sit with the 1, 2, 3 each time and do a little pinch there. Pinch, 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 strum. Now, you guys might remember me talking about this, strumming straight down, like commit to the tone that you want. Particularly important in this song, okay? Because it's you're already defining wherever your thumb lands. Strum straight down there. Don't go like that. Pick wherever it's going to be. Strum parallel to your frets. Okay? That'll give you a really nice rich sound because the tone will be the same all the way along. So commit to that tone wherever your thumb is. Pivot your hand. And then if you get all fancy, you do that. The fancy schmancy strum. I do that because I almost feel like I've got, okay, I'm so grateful that I can play. I'm just so darn grateful. And every time I play, I pretend it's the last time I'll ever have that chance to play that song, and I just give it all I got. Yeah. So when I do a strum like that, I think often I'm just like, I'm just listening. I mean, our instruments are amazing. And what an amazing time to be playing music. There's so many different options for configurations of instruments. So yeah, give your uke all the lovin' by strumming straight down, I guess with whichever hand. I'm gonna pull that tab up again, just so we can take a look at everything that's going on there. Now I'm gonna do something that might seem kind of strange, but I tell you, it can make your life, oops, I'm trying to get my my little pen option going here. Oh. We're going to play that way now. We're going to play backwards. We're going to strum that little A minor strum, and then we'll start at the next bar and we'll go there and play that. So we're going to start from the end of section A, play the last bar, then the last 2 bars, then the last 3 bars. Because we've practiced the first 2 lines a lot, but not the other ones so much. Okay? So just go with me here. We'll strum an A minor. We'll make sure our technique's good and solid. Strumming straight down, parallel to our frets. Here we go, A minor. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, now we're here. Oops. Now we're going to start here, okay? So now let's play our pinch with our A minor on the 2nd fret. Move up to our 9th fret. Play whichever way, pinching and then playing all 3 strings or what I have written. 5th fret. Strum on A minor. Okay. Now we're starting from here. Actually, you know what? That's going to feel so weird. Let's start from where the E7 part comes in. Okay, so make your E7 chord shape. Okay, so at the beginning of that 4th line, here we go. If you feel so inclined to throw in a pinch at this point with that 1st fret on the 4th string, go for it. Okay, so it would be pinching and you'd still have the 1, 2, 3 going. Okay, here we go. 2, 2, 1 more. Okay, now we're into the next part, so we're going to do the 2, 3, 2. 2, 3, right on. 2, okay, and now we're going to play that 2nd fret, good. Up to 9, to 5, A minor strum. Oh yeah. All right. Now we got to keep moving here. I'm going to choose a different color. There we go. Nice and sunshiny. Let's take this little traveling bar here. We'll go from the 3, 2, 0 now. Okay, just where I've got that pen mark. Here we go. 3, 2, all opens. Gives you a chance to lay down that E7. Here we go on the E7 on that next bar. 2, 2, 2. Okay, 2, 3, 2 on this one. Play a bass note if you want on that 4th string. Okay, now our fancy ending with the 2 and the pinching. 9, 5, strum on A minor. So remember, the choice is yours. If you want to do a pinch on that 1st string here, you can absolutely do that. Or not. Okay. All right, now we've got to move along to here. That stretch with that bass note, I wouldn't recommend you do that right this second, unless your fingers feel like they're all super stretchy and they can do it. Oh, look at that. Easiest way to do it, I find, for me. Yeah, right on, you guys. I put my pinky down on my 7th fret and I stretch back with my strong finger. That's how it works for me. So whatever gets you there, if you want to do it. If not, it's okay. Okay, here we go. 7, 5. Now to 3. That's so cool. 3, 2, 0 now. Okay, now we're on the 4th line, making that E7 chord shape. Okay, now we're going to do 2, 3, 2. Okay, now we're ending. So I've got my 2nd fret, the 9th fret, 5th fret, and a little strum on your A minor. That the stretching from 7th fret to 2nd fret, that was impressive. I definitely have an easier time doing that with the head of my uke up, like a classical guitar. It sure makes a difference for me. I'm going to take a second and identify these chord shapes. Just so you can see what I compared them to. So I compared this one to the B flat shape. This was the G7 shape. Oops, yeah, that's a G. Back to B flat. And that's just stretchy. That's a stretchy pants one there. 7, B flat. If you want to get all like technical with this bar on the 5th fret, okay, you're making an F bar chord is what you're making there. And so these are down here. This is not actually a B flat here. That's I can't talk right now. That's an E. There we go. And although I called this a G7 shape, in this case, that's an E sus2. Ooh. So fancy, right? But just identify it by what's familiar to you right now. You don't need to be thinking about all the different names of the chords. That's why I'm putting little quotation marks around them. But the barring on the 5th fret, that one is absolutely an F chord up here on that 5th fret. And these, it goes F, and then the next one with the 7th fret is an F major 7. So fancy. And then you're going down to A, F, A. I'd probably just call that one a D minor. F, F major 7, D minor, F, F major 7. Now I know you guys are making some notes here, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Now the reason why you might want to know those chord names is that you might be all like, oh my gosh, I want to play chords up the fret, but I'm not sure where they are. Well, that 8-5-5, you can sit and you can pick that or strum it when you're playing with a group, and that's a new F for you. And this is an F, holding my breath here, F major 7. There we go, did it, and kind of tidy too. This 5-5-5 could be a D minor or an F6. You know when you go to play an A minor 7 chord and it's all open strings, or you're like a C6 and it's all open strings, so it's the same chord name but different chord name but the same notes. It's the same thing here, D minor or F6 for these guys. Right along there. Okay. All right. So let's play. We're going to start at the beginning of the 3rd line now. Okay. So we're going to make that little B flat shape. That whole thing, if you add in the bass note, that B flat shape extends and it becomes, the actual name is an E7 up there. And that's the last thing I'm going to say about chords right now, because we gotta play. All right, so I'm not going to worry about that bass note there. I'm just going to play the 7-7-8 and make it like a baby B flat. If you want to toss in that 4th string, you guys go for it. Okay, here we go. 7, 7, 8. Now that kind of G7 shape. 8, 7, 8. Back to 7, 7, 8. Big reach to the 11th fret. 11, 7, 8. Now to the G7 shape. Baby B flat, 7, 7, 8. Home free, 7, 5, 3. Yeah, right on. 3, 2. All opens. Gives you a chance to make that open E7, the 1, 2, 0, 2. Okay, next measure, so we're doing 2, 3, 2. And now we're doing an A minor arpeggio because we're going 2 up to your 9th fret there on your 4th string, down to fret 5, A minor. It's interesting to have the E at the beginning of the 3rd line, that E7 bar chord, and at the beginning of the 4th line, the open E7 chord. It's nice to have those two different sounds in a song, and you can see where being able to play up the fretboard starts to give you a lot of different color options. Okay, now we're going to play from that bar chord on the 5th fret. Okay, so the 8, 5, 5. So line yourself up for that. 8, 5, 5, barring just the 3 strings here, and that's right. I can't highlight anything here. Line 2, measure 3. There we go. Okay, here we go. 8, 7. Now all the 5s are. One more. Okay, now going to the 7th fret, 8th fret. Okay, now we're on line 3 with that baby B, the baby B flat shape. 8, 7, 8. 7, 7, 8. You're right on. Nice pivoting, you guys. A big stretch up to that 11th fret. Whatever gets you there. Back to the little G7. I'm going nice and slow through here so you have time to think. Home free, 7, 5, 3. 3, 2, 0. Okay, line 4, making the open E7. Now you're doing the 2, 3, 2 part. Okay, and now the 2 up to the 9th fret. 5. Strum down, gentle with your thumb. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing this. I want you guys just to relax, listen, play along if you want, but it's been a pretty intense time with this song, and I want to make sure that you're comfortable with your shoulders and everything and relaxed. And be, you guys should be very proud of yourselves. I was watching your hand movements and your focus. You knocked it out of the park. So good. All right, here we go. I'm going to sit, play. I'm going to do the whole shebang. I'm going to do the stretchy pants and everything, but you'll see I often start with the squeaky wheel gets the grease with me. So baby finger gets laid down first. I stretch back. See where my thumb goes? My thumb goes along with my index finger to support it a bit. My hands are not big, so pinky's stretched out pretty straight. Look at that. But I'm not going to be there for long. I don't do that because that puts a lot of pressure here that I don't like. Keep it tucked in. I'll start it over again here. Whoop, there we go. Maybe I do that bass note again. Perfect place to take a breath. And as I do that, lay down my fingers. Maybe I remember to put this one down, maybe I don't. It's okay. Keep that arm tucked in to support yourself. See that middle finger starting to hover, starting to want to move? That's because I knew I was going to that little baby B flat. Oh my gosh. Or see, I just sat there, right? You could do that too. You don't have to move all over. You can just sit there and go 2, 3, strum. Okay. I want you guys to decide how you want to do that ending. Okay. Take your time with the chunks. I wanted to work you backwards through all the crazy pants stuff because you guys were doing fine with the beginning part, right? And that's the part that everybody tends to remember because you're always restarting things. So I wanted to walk you through playing it, you know, backwards, kind of backwards. Last chunk, next to last chunk. And you guys did a really good job with it. You had it going on. So that's section A of Romance, a classical guitar standard that is so much fun to play, so relaxing, gets you really working the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I was sticking out my pinky finger like a, well, I don't know, so fancy. It gets you going with the 1, 2, 3 pattern, and I think it's such a good pattern to have. It's so useful to be able to work on that. Hopefully you take a look. I'm staring at that tab now that I've written all those notes on. I'll download it with the notes on it, so that all the little marks that are on there are sitting on the website too. It's so useful to be able to play around with those bar chords, those little bar chords, and see what you can do, right? Like, you don't know what you can do until you try, right? And having patience with yourself is one of the, I find as adults, one of the hardest things, right? So this was good. This was really good. Okay, I'm going to stop recording now, but I just got to tell you guys, I'm so proud of you.